Hey everyone, it's Angela Irene with Aged Goodness and Budget Reload. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today is week number 2 of our Dollar Tree Extreme Eats, Cheap Eats Food Challenge, where you eat for an entire week, breakfast, lunch, and dinner from food purchased entirely from the Dollar Tree. We're going to start our days off with a choice of cheesy grits and fried eggs or oatmeal with peaches. And for lunch, we have a choice of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or leftovers. And these meals should make quite a bit in the leftover department. And for dinner this week, we're going to have bean burgers with fries, our version of a KFC bowl, chili and cornbread, spaghetti carbonara, chicken and rice vegetable soup, mac and cheese, and pan-fried steak with the fixins. And if you'd like to recreate this week's menu, you'll find the shopping list in the video description below. Now for breakfast, we're going to have a choice of quick oats with peaches or cheesy grits with eggs. We're going to make the quick oats according to the directions on the package, and then we will add the peach halves and heavy syrup. It's a 29-ounce can. It's going to add the sweetness and the fruit. The quick oats will make 11 servings. The grits, that container will make 10 servings. So we will be purchasing 2 boxes of that. We have 1 block of the cheese, so you can add the cheese to your liking for the grits. Some people just like them with salt and pepper. Some people enjoy them with sugar and butter. So that's up to you, but oh, grits are tasty. And we're going to pick up 2 dozen eggs. So everyone can have 1 egg with their grits, and we're going to save some eggs for some of the dinner recipes that we need. But all in all, we will need 7 items, 1 oat, 1 cheese, 1 of the peach halves, 2 grits, and 2 of the containers of eggs. So that'll cost us $7. And lunch is pretty self-explanatory. PB&J sandwiches or leftovers. These meals should make quite a bit in the leftover department. We made 8 to 10 cups of beans from our week number 1 video, and we're going to use 4 cups of the pinto beans here in our bean burger recipe. We're going to give the beans a good smashing, but I am going to leave a few beans whole. I do like that texture. After smashing, we're going to add 2 eggs, 1/2 cup of diced onion that we're going to take out of that peppers and onion frozen bag, and then we're going to add 1 cup of seasoned breadcrumbs from week number 1. Give everything a really good stir, incorporate those ingredients, and now it's time to add some spices if you'd like to. You can add taco seasoning, barbecue sauce. Really, the beans have flavor on their own from the cooking originally, but this time around I added black pepper, garlic powder, and some smoked paprika. Now divide the mixture into either 6 or 8 equal parts, depending on how thick you want your burgers. Preferably in a nonstick pan. Over medium heat, heat up a few tablespoons of neutral oil and a tablespoon or 2 of butter or margarine. Get that to a nice sizzle and add the burgers. After 3 to 4 minutes and these develop a nice crust, give these a flip, cook them another 3 to 4 minutes, and dinner is ready to go. Top your burger with your favorite toppings, cheese, barbecue sauce, ketchup, even salsa. It's all really, really good. And if you make these 8 patties worth, you can have 4 for dinner and 4 for lunch. And to round off the meal, don't forget about those French fries. The Dollar Tree offers a 32-ounce bag for $1. Sometimes you just want something a little unhealthy, like a KFC meal bowl. We're going to take those chicken strips, a can of corn, our leftover cheese from another meal, brown gravy, and instant mashed potatoes, and we're going to make our own. Guys, this is really a heat and serve meal. It is for a quick, gotta have something on the table, really want something comforting. You're going to make the potatoes as the directions say on the container. Really, it's just adding water. You're going to take the corn and dump it out. We're going to use half this can for another recipe, so we're only going to use half, but we don't need any more than that. We're going to grate the cheese that we had left over from another meal. I didn't even use the half I was given. That's only about a half of that, so about a quarter of the block. We made the gravy per the instructions, and we put the tenders in the oven, and I cut one up, and let's build this bowl. First thing we're going to start off with are potatoes. Now that our potatoes are down, we're going to add a scoop of corn. Looking good already. Now we're going to add our chicken. Of course, we need gravy. Next, we're going to top it with cheese before going in the microwave. 20 seconds later, and we have a meal. To start our chili, we're going to take half of our bag of peppers and onions. We're going to dice it up fine, and we're going to get that into our chili pot with a little bit of oil, just a hair, and we're going to saute all of that water out of them. First thing we're going to do is sweat out all of that extra moisture that we've got going on because these are frozen vegetables. I don't know if you can really see that on the bottom, but there's quite a bit of moisture coming out of these, and we don't really want to water down this chili, so I'm going to try to get a good chunk of that water to evaporate. I'm on medium heat. It's only going to take a couple of minutes, and you can already see it's sort of already starting to steam, and that way we don't have all of this extra moisture going on in there, diluting the flavors, which we don't want. I mean, this is going to be a really fast little chili anyway, so we need all the help we can get. So I'm going to do this just for a few minutes. And now that our vegetables are nice and, well, they're not really sauteed, but we got out the majority of all of that extra moisture. Okay, now I'm going to put in just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, just a teeny bit. And if you have this garlic, this minced garlic from the Dollar Tree, go ahead and add in 2 teaspoons worth. If you don't, add in about 1/4 of a teaspoon of garlic powder. And we're going to go ahead and saute sorry, I'm trying to look through the camera and stir. We're going to saute just for a few moments. And then, we want to wake up that garlic just a hair. And then, okay, this is what we did with the meatballs. After I pulverized them, that 1 pack makes quite a little bit of minced meat. Now, the one I had today was the Italian style, and it's not like overly spiced. They do have a home style. That is my preference, so if you can get the home style. And it's a 7-ounce bag, so it does the trick. And my little $8 chopper, I've had the thing for like 15 years. The thing is just a little champ. You can certainly dice this by hand. Obviously, I've got one. Still needs a little shaping, but you can do this by hand if you wanted to. But that little chopper, if you have access to one, I see them all the time at Goodwill. You know what? The little thing is, I'm not kidding. It is a useful tool. I use the absolute living daylights out of it. So what I'm doing here is, because these meatballs were mostly frozen still when I ground them, I'm just going to warm up the meat. I'm going to marry it with the flavors of the onion and the pepper. Oh, and here's the deal with the pepper. If you have someone in your family who just, is allergic to them or absolutely hates them,
just use the onion and save the pepper for another recipe that you can use them in. But I think they add a nice little pop right here. All right, so we're gonna let this go just for a few minutes, and then we're going to drain our beans, and then we'll add them in here. And I want to show you really quick, here is my little handy dandy chopper that I use all the time. And I have a big food processor, but it is such a pain in the behind to clean and get out. Get one of these. At Christmas time, at like Walgreens, you can get one for like $6. I've had it forever and a day. The thing works like a charm. And this is what I used to chop up the meatballs. So, and too, if you don't want to cut up the peppers and the onions, chuck them in here and give them a whirl. They don't have to be in big pieces. I mean, they can be tiny if you like them to be. So get yourself one of these. These are fabulous. Now we're going to add our 1 can of drained and rinsed black beans, our can of kidney beans, rinsed and drained on that one too, our 1 can of fire roasted diced tomatoes. Now if yours doesn't have fire roasted, just get whatever diced tomatoes they have. Juice and all for that. 1 cup of water, and I have a leftover half of a can of tomato sauce from last week's menu. I'm going to add that in too. I put it in the freezer. I've already defrosted it, saved it. Save everything because you never know when you're going to need it. Now my Dollar Tree does not have tomato paste. If yours does, a couple of tablespoons of tomato paste would be great, but right here we've got about 8 ounces of tomato sauce. And we're also going to add our spices now. We have a tablespoon of chili powder, a teaspoon of ground cumin, a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, but that is optional. You can certainly leave that out. I add just a pinch. I don't add the full 1/4 teaspoon. We have another 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder because we need that garlic to come through. We have a 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, and we have a 1/2 tablespoon of brown sugar to help balance out the tomato products here. If you don't have brown sugar, just add a little bit. We're talking like a teaspoon or 2 of white sugar, and that's fine. I have a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I don't want to add too much here. I can always add later. I don't want to add too much now. And then I have an 1/8 teaspoon, really good sized pinch of black pepper. And you can certainly adjust that as well depending on your level of spice. My family is not a big spice group here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to stir this all up, get it all nice combined. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a lid on it. And we're going to simmer this for about ½ an hour, and we're going to take a look and see if it needs just a little more time or if it's perfect. It's been about 30 minutes. Let's take a look. Woo! Sorry for all the steam. Let's take a look. Well, it's a little more than a simmer I got going on here, but oh, that's looking good. All right, if you have kids, and when my kids were younger, these bigger pieces of tomato, that would never have flown. I would have had to pulverize them before they went in. If your Dollar Tree has crushed tomatoes, add those if you don't like a big chunky. This is looking absolutely perfect for what we like. Let's take a Okay. Now this is a great time for you to taste, adjust your seasoning. What I have going on right now is perfect. I'm not going to touch it at all. Oh, I wanted to show you, hang on. I probably will edit this out here, me walking around, but hey, if yours has Rotel and ours did last time, if you like something a little spicier, instead of just the tomatoes, you could add this along with it. It'll make it just a little soupier. You're just going to have to simmer it a little longer to get some of the moisture out of it. But this is a great addition if you would rather have something a little more kicked up. Our family is not not in love with a ton of spice, so I don't add it, but it is a great addition either in addition to what you've got going on or as a substitution for those tomatoes. All right, I am going to work on our cornbread, and look at this. Yum, we are just about ready for dinner.
Onto our cornbread mix. This is either going to make 2 8-inch or 9-inch rounds or 2 8-inch or 9-inch squares. I ended up doing a round and a square. The round we're going to have with the chili, and to that I added an extra teaspoon of sugar, and I added the half of can that we saved from our KFC bowls of corn. So I added that, mixed it gently, and on the square I ended up chopping up 4 of the hot dogs and mixed that in with 2 teaspoons of sugar, and we're going to make like little corn dogs out of it. We baked per the directions on the package, and we're going to have the round cornbread with dinner tonight, and we're going to have the corn dog squares for lunches.
Our next meal I'm so excited to make. Oh, let me tell you, it's spaghetti carbonara. It is so easy and so tasty. I'm going to use 2 of our eggs, half of the package of spaghetti, bacon. Our Dollar Tree now carries this little 4-ounce pack of bacon, 4 slices, which is exactly what I need. I need half a cup of the Parmesan, and I need 4 cloves of garlic, but if you don't have the garlic powder works beautifully. First thing we're going to do is get some salt in our water, get it to a nice boil, and get the pasta cooked. All right, we're going to save half of a cup of this nice salted water. So as soon as our pasta is just about done, we're going to take out half of a cup of water because we're going to use that for our sauce. While your pasta is boiling, prep your other ingredients. Cut the 4 slices of bacon into a nice dice, and then you're going to mix 2 eggs and half of a cup of that Parmesan. Give it a really, really good scramble. Make sure it's incorporated. Okay, we're going to whisk the eggs and get that Parmesan all incorporated in there and give that a really good whisk. While our pasta is cooking, we're going to crisp up that bacon and render out that fat. It's going to be part of our sauce. This is going to be blurry, but we're going to dunk this in and get a little over half a cup of the starch water for our sauce. Now we're going to drain our pasta. Now that this is taken off the heat, we're going to carefully put our drained pasta into the pan, and now we're going to toss it with all that bacon goodness, and then we are going to drizzle in our Parmesan and egg and keep stirring that around until it's nice and incorporated. I'm going to keep incorporating, and those eggs will keep cooking. I'm going to add a little more of the water. I've added probably 1/4 cup. I'm probably going to add another 1/4 cup. Spaghetti carbonara. It is fast and easy and decadent. You've got to try this recipe.
Next on the menu, a warm and hearty chicken and rice soup. We only need 1 cup of rice. That'll leave us 24 ounces of rice for future meals. We need a full can of cream of chicken condensed soup, undiluted, 1 14-ounce bag of mixed vegetables. It can be your choice, peas and carrots, or more of a medley like we have here. We need 8 cups of chicken broth and 1 to 2 cups of diced cooked boneless chicken, or you can have the canned chicken like we have here, 1 to 2 cans. In a saucepan, bring the chicken broth to a boil. Give your rice a good rinse and then add it to the boiling broth. Boil for 1 minute and then drop the heat to medium-low to low and simmer for about 20 to 25 minutes until the rice is tender. Now add in your can of cream of chicken soup and the frozen vegetables. Give it a good stir. Now add the chicken, and another good option here would be a can of beans if you wanted to omit the chicken altogether. Now give everything a really good stir, make sure that soup gets all dissolved, and heat everything through for about 5 minutes, and then you'll be ready to serve. This soup is good on its own, but it's also tasty with crackers. Macaroni and cheese with veggies, super simple meal. You can make the entire 24 ounce of the elbow macaroni. You can use half for this meal and save the other half for lunches. You can stretch the chili and the soup with that extra half. When boiling the macaroni in the water, I wouldn't salt the water because the Velveeta cheese sauce is pretty salty anyway. So I would go ahead and make it al dente or to whatever degree of doneness you enjoy. All you have to do is drain it, return the pasta back to the pot, squeeze out both of the cheese packets. It'll start melting in that nice warm pasta. Give it a good stir and you are ready for mac and cheese. Heat up your green beans or your broccoli and your meal is ready.
Okay, now we're going to do our little ribeye in that little bit of olive oil. And I did this very simply, little garlic powder, salt, and pepper. Now we're going to do this on both sides just for like a minute. This is so thin, you can already see, I mean, this is a very tender little piece of meat here. But, you know, 4 ounces is recommended, and this is a perfect size for that. So after we sear this side just a little bit, we're going to flip it and sear it again on the other side, and then we're going to add our gravy, and it's going to just soak in that beautiful gravy and get all warmed all the way through and cooked through, and then we'll plate. And there's our flip. I mean, that was probably even less than a minute. It doesn't need a bunch. And then we're going to have that beautiful sear on the other side as well. Again, just we're 30 seconds, folks. And then here's our brown gravy. We've already made it. I'm going to turn this down. Going to put a lid on it. And we're going to let that cook just, let's give it 5 minutes and let it really marinate in here a little bit. And then we'll plate. After 5 minutes, look at how that beautiful plate has come together. Now I'm eating by myself this evening, that's why you only see one in the pan, but if all 4 of us were eating at the same time, there would be 4 steaks and a ton of gravy. And if you had any onions left, now would be a great time to use them up in this dish. Smothered steak, mashed potatoes, mixed vegetables. Now that's a dinner.
Well, friends, that was the Dollar Tree Challenge. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 4 people, 84 meals for $38. Thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. Thank you for spending time with us. Until next time, eat well, be safe. We'll see you soon.